So, I've been talking to myself for what, 15 minutes? Ten of those minutes is me trying to figure out what's wrong with my bot. So I wasn't looking at chat. I was like, what's going on with this bot? Trying to figure it out. Bot's dead. So that's the short story of that. So yeah. Class rep will not be able to tell you your credits or give you credits or any of that because fuck YouTube, I guess. Hey King, welcome. Welcome to the stream. We are starting chapter 3. Hello, Andre in Romania. Is that the reason you're here? I hope you're all doing well. You're discussing math in chat. Oh, well, I'm glad I missed that. Hello, Gway. Welcome back. I'll be the judge of whether it ended the third case syndrome. Although I-23 was good, so it's promising. That's the whole where you take some number of apples and then you give a friend some amount of apples and then you decide how many apples you have left based on the amount of apples you gave your friend and how many you started with, right? That's about the only way I, like, my extensive math knowledge these days. No worries. No worries, Tal. I mean, it sucked, but like, part of the reason I was up so late last night is I just, like, I was playing with switches, I couldn't get to sleep. And my doctor told me a while ago, he said if you're having trouble sleeping, if you're restless, you should get up and go do something, because just laying in bed hoping to fall asleep isn't going to be what helps. That's a good segue into how am I doing, as pondered by a few viewers. I am tired and rest probably from the tiredness. So I don't know how long we'll go today. I'm hoping that stream can de-stress me to some degree. But I knew these growing pains would happen with the schedule change, and I'm sure that's part of it. But like, silly me, I got excited after that first week. It was like, oh, that all went great. It's gonna be like that all the time now, right? Well, sometimes the beginning of a shift like that works out well, and then the problems come along, and then you gotta work through them, and then it gets better again. How did I not press go live? I put it in Discord. That gives you an idea of where my brain's working right now. It's not working in peak. What's a word? Performance. Ugh. This is just embarrassing. There is a Discord, yes. Oh, I was going to use the bot! But the bot's dead! There is actually a link in the description of the stream. You wanna go there. Oh, the case with the slurs! Well, that is certainly something I would like a heads up on. Stats is like the only type of math that I do like, and that's mostly because of my love of sports. The Runaway Room.
Glancing over my records of the late last century, I am faced by the events of a certain bitter winter. A murder in a carriage as it sped through dense London fog in the dead of night. Though the victim and the perpetrator were the only ones inside, there were multiple witnesses to the crime itself. However, none could have imagined at the time that such a seemingly obvious case as this would end in such a horrendous manner. My friend, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, once said of the incident, "I believe that perhaps that case was indeed the prelude. The beginning of a long concerto that impressive Japanese student and I were to play together."
Amazing. Is this really just a railway station?
Railway station or not, I've never seen such an enormous building before.
And look at all the steam locomotives.
It's funny how everybody gets a British accent when they get to England, right?
I'm dreaming.
So this is the capital of Great Britain.
So, where to?
Oh, hello.
Climb aboard. I'll take you wherever you want to go.
In that case, the Supreme Court in Whitehall, if you wouldn't mind.
My pleasure.
Did you just get here?
I suppose you're visiting students from abroad, eh?
Yes.
Thought so. Well then, I hope you enjoy your stay.
My name is M. Bison. Don't ask me what the M
welcome
stands for because I have no idea.
Centre of the world. Great Britain's mighty capital, London.
Mighty capital. That's not a guy who's stroking himself. Good lord. Monsieur Bison? Don't worry, CJ. I missed the start. Yeah, I didn't expect a bunch of gigantic cogwheels either, Susato. Seems kind of unnecessary. What an incredible place! It's so imposing. It's almost suffocating. Well, a lot of open space for it to be suffocating, but I think I get what she means. The place is breathtaking. It looks like a fortress. Yeah, that's not a good sign. There are some stone buildings like this in Japan now, of course. But they've only been built in the few short decades since we opened our borders to the outside world. An authentic example like this has quite a different impact, wouldn't you agree? A far cry from the wood and paper most of our buildings are constructed from. Am I not wrong with wood and paper? Except it wouldn't be as weather resistant, I suppose. It's certainly unfamiliar. I think there's more to the differences than just construction materials. What's this place again? This is the Lord Chief Justice's office, Naruhodo-san, in the Supreme Court of Great Britain. Hey, Zod, thank you for the $1.99 super chat. The M Bison stands for Mike. Oh, that's right! That's right! Because Balrog was initially M Bison. Because he was supposed to be Mike Tyson. But then they switched the names around because they couldn't... They were worried that making Balrog Mike Tyson would be a little obvious. And Bison was Vega. Sagat was always Sagat, right? Because wasn't Vega Balrog then? It only played once for me, but... Bison was Balrog? Also, this is the greatest office that has ever existed in fiction. I thought Red White's was absolutely glorious. This makes Red White look like a petty criminal. That, like, we shouldn't have even bothered prosecuting. That's how insignificant he feels. Canonically, it stands for mystery. Mystery Bison. Huh. I mean, I get they had to change it once they did the name shuffle, right? Because dude's name couldn't be Mike Bison. I mean, it's gotta be, right? What other gigantic clock tower could this be? Is there like a Big Ben mini? I don't think so. The Lord Chief Justice. You know, just Chief Justice, I think, gives enough respect. Personally. Yeah, I thought they were going to Whitehall. Is a part of Whitehall still? If it's the Supreme Court, it makes sense that his office would be there. But yeah, they said it was Whitehall, but that clock behind him is clearly not Whitehall. We had instructions to report here at this time if circumstances were different. I know it's a common honorific. I also think it's ridiculous. I also think it's ridiculous that they wear white wigs. But that's just me. I would never be Lord Twain just because of my profession. You can only be a lord by becoming a lord. Being a lawyer who's moved up in the world doesn't make me a lord. God. It's all the better to snatch the wigs? Yeah, I think so. Because it's a granted title, but I also thought it had something to do with land. Maybe that's not right. Maybe I'm wrong. Lawyer. Make a religion out of Lord Chief Justice Messiah God Duke. But Cosma can't. Hey, Dreamer. No. So instead, we are here in a different capacity. As envoys to report the news of Cosmo-sama's death. Yes. Having delivered his or her message, an envoy's duty is done. Though we'd have to return to Japan. We want to remain here in Great Britain. I have to take Cosmo's place as the law student selected for the study tour. Yes, which means you need the requisite qualifications as a lawyer. What I've been studying for. Yes. Here in Great Britain, it is the Lord Chief Justice who appoints lawyers. That's similar. We have to be, we have to go through a ceremony in front of the Supreme Court of our state before we're officially considered lawyers. So that's the second reason why we're here, to have you officially recognized as a lawyer. It's the only way that we'll be able to remain here in London. I hope I'm up to scratch. It's funny that he would have, like, if he was on the prosecution side in the original trilogy, I'd have been like, yep. Yep, that makes sense. That makes sense. I don't even know. I'm guessing this is not one of the two characters you were talking about, Doug. I was thinking about giving him Von Karma's voice, but that has too much of a negative connotation to it now. Okay, that's what I thought. I cannot go very deep. My voice is not the baritone I wish it would be. Or could be. Not exaggerating it. That could work. He's 6'5". He is taller than me. Holy shit. Fuck, what did he say? Good morning. Sorry for keeping you. Oh, I trust you aren't too exhausted after your long voyage from Japan. It seems I'm 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 47 seconds late. My apologies. No, don't mention it. We're never happier than when we're standing around with nothing much to do. Wow, that sounds like shade. How fortunate. So, introductions. I am Miles Strongheart, Lord Chief Justice of the British Empire. Oh, I feel like a little mouse when under an elephant's foot. Yeah, that seems appropriate here. Come on now, Mr. Naruhodo, don't be a mouse. Oh, that's right, you can read my mind. It's an honor to meet you, with honor with a U, sir. Lord Chief Justice Strongheart. I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo from the Empire of Japan. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, welcome to London, the capital of our glorious British Empire. Yes, thank you. It's great. Should probably converse with them, right? So, what are your impressions of our capital so far? How do you like London? Oh, well, oh! I've been so nervous ever since I got here that I can't remember a single thing about the city! It's simply splendid, isn't it, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh? I'm sorry, does this woman speak for you? God, Ouchie has got me in like a really like, everybody just sees a woman and they're just like, what are you doing here, maid? Yeah, it's a violent storm, isn't it? His name was originally Daddy Sama. Why'd they change it? We had a wonderful view of some of London's streets from the carriage on the way here from the station. Everything is so impressive and grand. I must say I'm almost lost for words. I'm surprised Ryunosuke wasn't like, everything's so tall and stone. I'm used to wood and paper. I'm glad to hear you like it. The city boasts tramways, piped water, and gas, even cables supplying electricity. We spearhead every revolutionary new technology in the world. Do you still, at this point? Maybe. I think you're kind of losing your place at this point, though. Almost. Not quite, but almost. Every visitor to London is astounded. Now, to be fair, I think I would be astounded going to London. It's a very different place than where I live. Oh yes, astounded is the word. Thanks for saving me there, Susato-san. You should probably still say something. And everyone seems so jolly and full of vigor. That's right, you add that "you" to vigor. Don't want any American English around these parts. Still a bit smart from 150 years ago. Give or take. How long did that war last? I guess it's more like 130 years, but... God, I'm such a fucking American. Just like shitting on all the British stuff in the game. Alright, I'll stop being an American douchebag. Yes, there's much excitement about the upcoming great exhibition we will be hosting here in London. Great exhibition? Cultural and technological achievements from around the globe are to be exhibited here in our great city. I'm not doing myself any favors. Ew is ew. Oh yeah, there was the War of 1812. Did that just, how many years did that last? Was it just the 1 year? That's when they burned down the White House, right? Because Madison was president? The global citizen in me? See, I wish I were more of a global citizen, but I've never been to the Western Hemisphere, the Eastern Hemisphere, which, don't get me wrong, it's not that I haven't wanted to go. I feel embarrassed that I've never been to the Eastern Hemisphere. I very much want to go to the Eastern Hemisphere sometime. 1850. Wait. I'm getting two answers here. Can we come to a consensus? Is it 1814 or 15? Did they really? That's something I never knew. The UK is like, oh yeah, those Confederates, boy. We support them. Welcome, bonsai. Yeah, drown me in food. I'm fine with that. I'm learning some history stuff today. I love history, personally. I'm like one of the only people I know in life that likes history. Not in life, but like almost everyone I know here that I, live around or live with, friends, whatever, they all hate history. And I'm like, why? If anything, just think of them as really cool stories that actually happened. Oh, they tried to get your support? I see. That makes sense. It would have surprised me if because if you're the British and you're still kind of pissed off, you wouldn't support either. I just, hey, you two destroy each other. I don't fucking care. You guys are assholes anyways. But that's what I mean, I don't understand why people didn't like studying it. I guess there's a lot of reading, and if you're just not a reader, if the only thing you like reading are numbers being mixed with other numbers in weird and complex fashions, then yeah, you might not like it. That's more of a way that history's taught, though, isn't it? Because you consume history in a way that you consume anything else, in terms of, committing it to memory. Hey, that's been me for the past week, Nathan. Ugh. He does look like Damon Gant probably more than anyone else. But he has the Von Karma aesthetic. Like the drip. That bag! As you youngsters will say, that's probably not even the correct usage of that word. Don't worry about it, CJ. I'll stop trying to be hip. I know I make fun of myself for being old, but I actually really, I actually like doing that. It's fun. I'm going to be Buscemi at some point in school with a backwards hat and a skateboard. Hello, fellow youngsters, or whatever the fuck he says. That's the only way the channel will be able to stay relevant. He can rearrange little guts. Good fucking God. Yeah, the Taiwan, yeah, that makes sense. Hey, ain't nothing wrong with having different preferences for who you'd like to rearrange your guts. Well, there's no actual rearrangement of internals going on in chat, simply a desire to have it happen. That sounds like it's like an attempt to be an enlightened view of it. We recognize you, but you're not independent, so we give you credit for trying. I have said this. It will be the greatest spectacle of its kind in history, and will make Paris's World Fair look like a toy shop. Everything's just dick measuring with you Brits, isn't it? Gosh, I can hardly imagine how magnificent it's going to be. That's where we got our dick measuring tendencies. Wonder why it's still stuttering. I mean, that has to be something going on with YouTube, although the fact that it's been going on for several days is concerning. 'Cause I'm not dropping frames. I dropped the bit rate. Could try dropping it a little more. Really don't want to go too much lower than that while I'm at 1080. It seems to be regional based, like as to who's getting it. But like not everyone outside the US is having the same problem. That has to be a server thing then, right? Yeah, I don't know. I tried lowering the bitrate again a bit, but I don't want to lower it too much more because otherwise it starts looking bad because we're when you're trying to run at 1080, 60 FPS, you're really not supposed to drop below a certain bitrate, or the whole thing will just start looking chunky. Great Britain's capital city is nothing but magnificence. London is the centre of the modern world. Oh, stop being a dick. London. I swear I'll stop being a dick. London is the center of the modern world. Century. I'm sorry. I'm in a bad mood, and I feel like making fun of everything. So don't take it personally, those who use the British English. Even if you do say so yourself. The sun will never set on our great empire. Perhaps it is fate that in these progressive times we welcome visitors from the land of the rising sun. I mean, technically, Britain's still a thing, but that empire they spoke of, I don't know if you can call it an empire. See, if you didn't know history and didn't have common sense, you might think, wow, are they still... Is he right? Are they still the most powerful force, the Imperial British Empire? Lord Chief Justice? I think you were expecting a student of law for the study tour, weren't you? Absolutely. A Mr. Kazuma Asogi, if memory serves. That's right. The British government has already been telegraphed a full report on the situation. I understand the young man lost his life aboard the steamship bound for our shores. That's amazing. The news reached him before we even arrived. My country naturally extends its deepest condolences to yours. Oh, thank you. And you honored this appointment specifically to inform me of the news? Yes. We are here in the capacity of envoys from Japan to report the sad news in person. They tell me you Japanese are a people of protocol and courtesy, and I see that it's true. And it is with some regrets that I must inform you that the death of the young lawyer means this study tour arrangements can no longer proceed. If you would just hear us out, Lord Strongheart. What do you have to say, madam? It's about the study tour. Mr. Naruhodo here would like to make a proposal. Would he now? Well, Mr. Naruhodo? Won't you find that voice of yours that I know is hidden deep down within? This is it then, the moment of truth. The thing is, Lord Strongheart, I was wondering if perhaps you would consider maybe allowing the study tour to go ahead? Don't misunderstand me. Britain would ideally like to see the tour go ahead. But without a lawyer from your country, there's nothing to be done. Like, literally, there'd be no point. Well, in that case, what if there was someone else? Another lawyer from Japan, I mean? Oh, you mean this young lady here? No. Is there something I don't know? Yeah, spit it out, dude! You just sitting there like, are you gonna fucking tell me what I don't know? Only a single lawyer was invited to Great Britain from your country, and that was Mr. Asogi. At least that is what I've been led to understand. I certainly wasn't lied to, was I? Well, see, the thing is, this really isn't going well at all because you can't fucking talk. Just can't seem to find the right words to say to this man. Mr. Naruto, stop being a little bitch. I could ruin things here if I'm not careful. What am I gonna say? There's someone else here from Japan who could be described as a lawyer. It's Miss Susato. It's me. It's me. I can do it. Oh, sorry. I was just thinking about something funny that happened earlier this morning. It has nothing to do with what you just said. Oh, is that so? I mean, I don't actually have any qualifications as such, but no qualifications, you say, and yet you still claim to be a lawyer. What kind of tomfoolery is this? I've acted as a lawyer in court before. Only once, as it happens. And I had Kazuma to help me, and I was the accused, glossing over the details. Yeah, don't say any of that. Talk! Oh God, he's frustrating. I've been spending every spare moment on the journey here to Great Britain studying. I have learned all about British law and court proceedings while I was on board the SS Burial. The voyage from Japan is some 50 days, I believe. Not what you might call a full education. Thank you. To become a qualified lawyer here in Britain, not only do you need a university degree in law, you must also complete several years of training. I realize that's far too short a period of time, but I can't just go back to Japan. Kazuma, Mr. Asogi's journey had only just begun. Coming here on this study tour was all he thought about. I have to carry on and do everything he planned to do. I know it must sound like I have an overly inflated opinion of myself. Yeah, not really. But I would do anything to prove that I would have what it takes. Any test you care to set to me. Just one chance. That's all I'm asking for. I can't miss my chance to blow. Please! This opportunity comes once in a lifetime, yo! 31 seconds. Sorry. Your opening statement there, Mr. Naruto, it was 31 seconds long. Not too brief, not too protracted. The perfectly judged appeal, I would say. Which is a skill that would stand in your which is a skill that would stand you in good stead as a lawyer. Oh, thanks. Yeah, we'll probably play the first game. Excuse me, in between this game and the second Great Ace Attorney game. Probably. Not 100% sure of that. What my tentative plan is. Oh God. Sorry. I'm trying to get myself like psyched up and amped up and like the performance, but it's actually not helping my energy level. So you're willing to put those words to trial, are you? Well, I'm all for entertainment. Huh? Let me ask you one thing first, sir. Yes? You say you intend to do everything Mr. Asogi planned to do. Are you firmly set on that path? Well, yes. That's my intention. I see. Am I imagining things? Or did his expression just alter a fraction there all of a sudden? Very well. You have your wish. I'll give you a chance. A test to become a specially certified lawyer, whether you pass or fail, is entirely down to you. Really? So, what form will the test take exactly? Tell me, Mr. Naruto, what do you consider the role of a lawyer to be? Well, defending people, of course. Well said. So, let's have you defend someone. I would not be happy if I were the person that he was defending. Like, hey, this is a student that studied for 50 days. He can be your lawyer. Does he have a degree in law? No. Any real training? No. I know, this is some bigotry towards speedrunners, for real. Yeah. Is he like a protagonist in a video game? Oh, he is. Oh. Well, in that case, I can't lose. Huh? Your timing is perfect, in fact. There's an apt trial about to begin later today. No advocate has been appointed for the defense as of yet. Oh, you guys are terrible. So this will be welcome news. That they won't have to defend themselves. Today? Straight away? You managed to secure a verdict of not guilty. You have passed my test. That is... No, it's gonna happen, obviously, but that's absolutely fucking impossible. What could be simpler? Ugh. I don't get myself into these situations. Well, could I ask what sort of trial is it, Lord Strongheart? Yes, good question. Ah, I remember. Well, it's an Ace Attorney game, of course, so it's murder! Yo, what's up, Tom? I wish we had a power ballad like that. Yeah, shocked. Pikachu shocked face for that murder declaration. Well, don't worry, Trep. I'm not sure I'm gonna be here for the entire stream. This protein shake probably isn't helping, but it has 30 grams of protein, and it tastes like birthday cake. Wouldn't a civil trial be more complicated? Okay, let's talk about this real quick. The response to that is a response to basically any question you ask a lawyer. It depends. But one big difference between a murder trial or the criminal trial and a civil trial is the burden of proof. What is burden of proof? Burden of proof is the standard that must be met for someone to have proven their case. If you are to get somebody convicted of a crime, they must be considered guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Now that's very important. In most, because there are some pseudo criminal / civil trials that have a different standard called clear and convincing. But most civil trials base their verdict upon the preponderance of evidence. The preponderance of the evidence means that you only have to prove that it's more likely than not. So 50.0000000000001% versus 49.9999999, you know, like that. Whereas beyond reasonable doubt, if you were to put a percentage on it, this isn't exact, this is just kind of a way of comparing the two. You're looking like in the 90s. That's a significant difference in having to prove your case. So what is more complicated all depends on the case at hand. But in theory, at least, it is significantly easier to prove that you are more likely than not to be correct than almost absolutely correct. This is not going to be in the exam, no. Is it bad that he's forcing him to get not guilty? It's okay. So it's not bad that he's putting him on a trial. Actually, it is kind of fucked up because he's not. It's just not Naruhodo that's getting fucked over here. It's the client too. But having him defend, this is a high-profile case. This is a strong case. In the state of Wisconsin, you are not allowed. You might not be allowed to represent someone in a murder trial unless the judge deems you to have enough qualifications. And normally that's a certain amount of years of experience in criminal court. Again, that depends, case-by-case basis, but that can happen. A judge could say, I don't think you're qualified to defend this person in this murder trial. And you'd have certainly more than one afternoon to get your case together. So, yeah, it's fucked up. But, given what we know about the Ace Attorney universe, it's not really all that surprising. Also, hello, Ran. It would be considered unethical because the way our system works, the right to an attorney does not mean like you have the right to an attorney 3 hours before your trial. What would happen is that you get your attorney appointed and then they would reschedule the trial so that your attorney has an appropriate amount of time to mount a defense. Our system would consider such a fast turnaround to be unethical and immoral, almost. That's a good equation. That's a good equation, Trep. A murder? An extremely simple case, I understand. You really can't lose. This is dumb. If he thinks the defense can't possibly lose, that means the charge should never have been brought in the first place. That's easy to say, but I should mention, just in case, if the defendant is found guilty, he will, of course, be sentenced to capital punishment. Capital punishment? He'll be put to death? Here in Great Britain, murderers are sent to the gallows, without exception. I always thought that was a cool name for like a place of death. From the gallows to you. Oh shit, yeah, the gallows. Presumably, you read that much in your short C-based introductions to British law? I would fucking hope so, otherwise what was he studying? We can't possibly agree to such a test. Yeah, it's kind of unethical for you to agree to that, but we're gonna do it anyways, because fuck it, we're the protagonist. We'd be toying with a man's life. I am so glad that the game actually points this out as an actual problem. Doesn't mean we're not going to actually do it, but I do like to see some amount of self-awareness. Because this is fucked up. And it's never mentioned as a problem in the Ace Attorney trilogy, obviously, even if Phoenix is an actual attorney. I am the Lord Chief Justice, and I've decided it's acceptable. Oh, well, then, of course. But you can't do that, can you? There's no need to overcomplicate this. All you have to do is ensure that you don't lose, forehead. The defendant may live or die, depending on how well I perform in court. If I lose, he'll be hanged, or hung, or hunged. I'm sorry, I'm still getting a grasp on English. Mr. Naruhodo, you've come to me claiming to be a lawyer. If you want me to take you seriously, you need to prove you're willing to do a lawyer's job. And you say you intend to see through the will of your compatriot, Mr. Asogi. I would like to understand just how far you're willing to go in order to make that happen. It's testing my resolve. What's the matter? You've fallen silent. I'm sorry. The time is pressing. The trial begins shortly. I need an answer from you now. What's it to be? What do I say? Do I agree to this absurd test? Yeah. Alright then. If I have to give you a decision now, my answer is... Can't do it. I can't get the words out. 15 seconds! Your decision making needs work if you want to be a lawyer. That was too slow. So, it's as I suspected, is it? Sorry? You have noble intentions, but lack the resolve to see them through. The test is canceled. Thank you for stopping by. Go and acquire your ticket for passage back to the east tomorrow. This conversation is over. Yes, Lord Strongheart. Thank you for offering me a chance. Mr. Naruhodo. I'm sorry, Miss Susato, but what could I do? It's alright, I understand. You do? It's not an easy decision to choose whether to defend a man in these circumstances, but resolve has absolutely nothing to do with it. What are you trying to say, madam? I think what Miss Susato means is that no matter how badly I'd like to be recognized as a lawyer and stay here in Great Britain, to risk another man's life by treating this one and only chance at a trial so trivially would be utterly unforgivable, and I feel exactly the same way. What a fucking man! I'm sure the defendant won't see this trial as a test, as some kind of experiment. A lawyer may fight for his clients in court day after day. Whoops. But for each one of those clients, the particular day they stand in the dock may be the only chance they have to fight to prove their innocence. No, I was wrong. I'm not qualified to do that job yet. I'm sorry for wasting your precious time, Lord Chief Justice. Wait, Mr. Naruhodo! God, that gave me the fucking raging boner! Oh, what? Was there something else? It's approximately 20 minutes by carriage to the Old Bailey from here. If you leave immediately, you should still be there in time. But I just said that... I was quite serious in what I told you. The defendant in this case has literally no one to advocate for him. What? At this point, he can't hope to find someone to represent him. The trial will begin without a defense. And if that happens, there's only one possible outcome. He will receive the most severe sentence the judge can give. But that's awful. But that is the truth. Why does it have to be like this? Because the world isn't fair, madam. Please don't expect an answer to every question. I'm Lord Chief Justice, not God Chief Justice. The cold, hard truth of the matter is that there is only one person now with a chance to save this man from a very miserable end. And that is you. Really his only hope? So, what do you say now, madam? Me? What do you mean, Lord Strongheart? You were the one talking all that shit earlier. You said it wasn't an easy decision to choose whether to defend a man in these circumstances, and I agree. But in my estimation, it is purely and simply a matter of resolve. Oh! Our time is up here. I have a meeting to attend. I must leave in 2 minutes and 16 seconds. So, venture into our great city and enjoy yourselves. He's gone. The Old Bailey. We're going to do this, Mr. Naruhodo. We must leave at once. You have to tell me twice. Well, yeah, because everybody in Britain is huge, didn't you know? Oh, thank goodness, we're in time. There's still 15 minutes until the trial begins. I never knew a horse-drawn carriage could go so fast. I thought my teeth were gonna rattle loose. Oh, that sounds really uncomfortable. Did you hear what I said to the driver when we climbed aboard? Get us to our destination in 5 minutes, driver, and there's a guinea in it for you. It's one of my favorite lines from the Sherlock Holmes stories, and it works quite perfectly. Not sure why you're so pleased. I thought we were going to die, and we had to pay gold for the privilege. Well, at least we arrived here before the trial started. Yeah, I suppose there's that. Anyway, I don't understand it. The court clerk said the defendant should be here, but there's no sign of him at all. Thanks, Tal. What do you say, a spoiler? Or was it something like bad? Was it a slur? Like this case apparently had its fan translation? Okay. Okay. I thought it was something like... Oh god, okay. Alright, moving on. So this is the Old Bailey. Even this room for defendants to wait in is grand. Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? I'm feeling tense, that's all. This place gives me the same sense of foreboding that I remember from the Supreme Court in Japan. An oppressive air, almost as if the building itself is going to crush whoever is about to be sentenced. It feels like only yesterday that it was I who was about to be crushed. Yes, whoever the man you're to defend is, I'd imagine he's feeling very alone at the moment. Top of the morning to you, madam, sir. Yikes. Ain't no way in hell a dude wearing that hat was able to murder anyone. Not giving him Pearl's voice. It's like he's got a mixture of use. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing following me here? Things are fair desperate, aren't they? Like, what? 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 How many accents are we, like, meshing together here? Irish Italian. So it's Irish, okay. What are you doing following me here? Things are fair desperate, aren't they? Sorry? Would you look at those expressionless faces from the Far East are use? I didn't know they said use like that, or there was at least a type of Irish accent that said it that way. We're from Japan, yes. Ah, Japan, is it right? Say no more. So, how much juice need? No, we're just here because... No need to explain, fella. I've been there myself. I've been there myself, so I have. No place to go, nothing to eat, barely a penny to your name, and all the while in a strange, faraway land. Well, actually, we haven't found a place to stay yet. No. Tis grand, tis grand. Let me start by giving you 1,000 guineas. Say nothing now. Ah! 1,000 guineas? Please, Miss Usato, you don't have to shout. But 1,000 guineas is enough to build an entire mansion in the most prestigious area of Tokyo. What? Tis nothing to me at all. I like to ensure I have sufficient funds to weather a rainy day, you see. I have enough wealth to buy the city of London 2 or 3 times over. That much rain even fall in one day? Well, even so, we couldn't possibly accept. Oh God, I want the. Well, even so, we couldn't possibly accept such a large sum of money. Ah, I was not expecting that. Like, my eyes flinched a little bit there. That hit me in the eye. Don't get me wrong, fella. I'm not giving it to you, no strings attached. I'll be wanting you to do something for me. Oh? To be honest, it's a little embarrassing. The trial that's about to begin, you see, is for me good self here. I'll be in the dock. So now, what I want you to do is come along with me and stand there beside me. Officially, you'd be my lawyer, but that's just a little detail now. Oh, well, the thing is, don't worry about a thing. All you have to do is stand there next to me, nothing more. Otherwise, you see, the trial's going to start without me having any kind of representation at all. That face. That is a shocked face. Oh! Just say yes! No, but we have to actually defend him because if we don't get that not guilty verdict, I'm not leaving it in his hands. That's the closest thing we have. Emma's shocked face. So it was true. The Lord Chief Justice wasn't just making it all up. It's fucking... what? No, we already have Emma shocked. I'm not gonna add something else. Unless you think that face is better than Emma being shocked. And that's just gonna make me shocked. There's no better shocked than shocked Emma. In this series, at least. So far. We are all Emma Sims here. Just accept that. He did have rings on every finger. He does give off more of a rich vibe than this guy does. I'm terribly sorry to have to ask, but does that mean you're the defendant in this trial? Bluster and blazes! Do yous not know who I am? Me? One of London's biggest names? No, sorry. We've only just arrived in the city, you see. I see. I suppose it isn't altogether impossible. Oh, just next to Hyde Park, there in the center of London is another beautiful park. Sorry? A park? What? Tis called McGilded Park. Full of blossoming flowers in the spring and singing birds and whatnot. I donated it to the city, so I did. An entire park? In central London? A city of smiles, that's my vision for London. There's nothing Magnus McGilded... There's nothing Magnus McGilded wouldn't do for the city and its queer old people. What the fuck? Hold on. This is not... What the fuck? Okay. I'm just gonna read exactly what I'm seeing here. Queer is a subset of queer theory exploring the intersectionality of race and sexuality. Queer could also mean the queer fellow, a Brendan
Time to change fate!
Behan play produced in 1954. Queer impedit English law writ commencing and advowson. What? Means very or extremely. Just say that. Just the very, that's all I need. I didn't need any of that other stuff, Google. Very extremely. So I guess that sort of makes sense. So gay, for my example, meant happy, excited, whatever. But I guess I never thought about what the original meaning of queer was. I guess it would make sense that it would have similar meaning. But I've seen the word gay used that way. I have not seen the word queer ever used that way. It's just never something I thought about. It used to mean strange. But it's not accented queer. Queer is its own word that means very or extremely. Also, sorry, I missed this. Sarah Micha, thank you for the sub. Much appreciated. Boring word stuff, says the fucking math guy. Yo, what's up, JB? I sleptwalked through Fellowship of the Ring, and I never felt like reading or associating myself with anything Lord of the Rings ever again, because I thought that book was just incredibly boring. Yes, please, Amira. You know, they have one job, and you think they'd make sure to do their due diligence. Make sure the words mean what they mean. So, like, that's why I never assume that they just didn't know what the word was, because that just seems unlikely. Not that it can't happen, but that's just why I never jumped to that conclusion. Queer apparently means excellent informally in Irish. Okay, so it has a different meaning in in Irish English. It can have a different meaning to it. Okay, fair. It's hip to be queer. No, I wouldn't have thought it was unintentional either. The more obscure it is, the more intentional I would think it would be. Okay, so he's saying excellent old people. Gotcha. That's amazing. I mean, really extraordinary. Ah, but now the call to say I'm a good-for-nothing criminal. Me, Magnus McGilded. What is the matter with the London police, I ask you? Hey, all right, don't pass out. Little guy, Mr. Naruhodo. Perhaps now would be a good time to introduce ourselves while the gentleman catches his breath. Good idea. Now that you've shut up, I can talk. Mr. McGilded, the thing is, we're actually here in London to study British law. You don't need to say any of that. I mean, it's probably the right thing to do, but like, if you're gonna represent him anyways, wouldn't you want to fill him with some confidence? There's nothing I wouldn't do for gilfs. Queer gilfs! We're law students on a study tour from Japan, you see. So, if you don't have a lawyer for the trial yet, and you'd be happy to put yourself in our hands, we'll do our best. What was I after saying, you daft idiot? What? I didn't swear, did I? In like a really bad way? I don't know what that word is. This is a Christian live stream. A more endearing Irish slang term for someone who acts foolishly, is a bit slow, or has no sense. Not as harsh as calling someone an idiot. Ah. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. What was I after saying, you daft idiot? I've given you a thousand guineas to stand up there next to me, haven't I? Oh, yes, but I wasn't really offering to just stand up there next to you. Oh, I think I see what's going on here. Sorry? I know what you're thinking. This chancer of a fella claims to have more money than the Queen. But if that's true, why the blazes can't he hire the finest lawyer in all of England? That's what I was thinking. Because he did it. That's the only explanation. Well, well... I will lie. Not at all. Although, it is a little strange, to be honest. Why you don't have a lawyer, I mean. That would be the fault of the Reaper. Sorry, did he just say Reaper? Aye, the Grim Reaper of the Bailey. Lord Barrack van Zeeks. He's the prosecutor. Is that, how would you pronounce Zeeks? Zeeks? The prosecutor? Like straight idiot, isn't it? Said it right the first. Okay. Zeeks. The prosecutor is the Grim Reaper? When Van Zyck stands for the prosecution, they call the accused his sacrificial lambs. And to this day, in every single trial in which he's been the prosecutor, the accused has been damned. What? Though it's reached the desperate situation where there's no one willing to stand in defense against the fella at all. You could say he's a living legend of the Old Bailey. Goodness, Lord Beric von Zyx. He must be an exceptionally talented prosecutor then. Or, like in Von Karma's case, an exceptionally violent and coercive prosecutor. Talented isn't the word you're looking for, madam. It's cursed. Cursed? What on earth? The defendant is summoned, and his counsel. Man, they have the same accent everywhere I go. Please make your way into the courtroom. The trial is about to begin. His counsel? That would be me. Oh, 'tis time! Well then, fella, don't let me down! What? I don't know anything about the case! You haven't told me what happened. Wait. Until you showed your face here, I'd made up my mind, so I had. Sorry? I decided I'd have to defend myself in there. How would that have worked? What is pro se defense? What? Well, then you made an appearance. A student of law, wouldn't you know? 'Tis no accident, I can assure you of that. 'Tis fates. So don't get cold feet now, please. I don't get cold feet, I just want some information. I literally know nothing about the case, or about this man who stands accused. In fact, the only thing I do know is that I can't just turn my back on him. Of the sick, which would make sense when they call him cursed, right? Mr. Naruhodo, the man is no one. He'll have to stand alone in that courtroom, armed with nothing to defend himself. Except his innocence and the law. Yes, something that Cosmo would never have allowed to happen. Counsel for defense, what are you doing? If you are late for the start of the trial, you will lose your right to stand. Ah, it's one of those judges I see. I'll be right there, cheering you on because I know even less than you do. It's happening then. My first trial in a British court. I hope you're watching it. Oh God. I'm sorry. I hope you're watching over me, Cosmo, because I have no idea how I'm going to manage this. Why are the scales on fire? One would think that would be against the law. Now, I will say if I had the ability to create my courtroom, it would probably include this. But it would also not be legal. At least up to code, so to speak. I guess they create the law. Actually, no! No! The House of Parliament creates the law. They just uphold the law. Activist judges creating law on their own. I am the... Isn't London, like, burned down? Yikes, but yes. You'd think they'd be a little more careful. I was gonna respond to something before, but what was it? Oh, yeah, what Tom said. There are those judges, and they have the right to be, but it's also kind of eye-rolly. Like, dude, shit happens. Don't be a dick. Who are all those people? Is that the jury? Is there an actual fucking jury? So this is the highest court in Great Britain, the Old Bailey. Centuries of history in this place is palpable, isn't it? It's so different to the Supreme Court in Japan. It feels both imposing and serene. It feels both imposing and serene at the same time. The atmosphere almost makes words redundant. And yet this is a place of words. Whatever the country, determining a person's guilt or innocence is always a solemn affair. Unless it was the Salem witch trials. Then everybody just treated that like it was a fucking... like, musical concert or some shit. May I say something, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, yes, what? Here we go again! Your eyes look ready to pop out of your head again. You know, I know, but I just can't help it. What a wise, old-looking man. It is Christmas. That was Dracula. We were actually up against Dracula. Judge Claus. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. We are here today to determine the guilt or innocence of Mr. Magnus McGilden. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. He doesn't look as wise as this guy does. This guy has glasses. Duh. Yeah, what is a man? A miserable pile of secrets. Like, that's not exactly what... Okay. Exactly. He has the tiny glasses that shouldn't ever work, so obviously. You can fix this man! I will find his happiness! The prosecution is fully prepared. That must be the Reaper of the Bailey! He really does look fully prepared to dispatch his next poor victim to the underworld. Counsel for the defense, you appear to be Eastern? You speak English? Huh? Oh, yes, of course, sorry. He asked if the defense was ready, and I couldn't be further from ready if I tried. Why does he actually have a fucking Dracula cape? Those eyes please me. The bonies. They shroud your fear, your doubt, your trepidation. They run wild, clinging to some phantom notion of courage. The quintessential look of a sacrificial lamb. It's hot. Well, then why wouldn't he wear less clothing? Okay, having capes is one thing. Dude has the fucking collared up, popped above his ears Dracula cape. Cold shiver just ran down my spine all the way to the tips of my toes. Now, Mr. McGilden. Yes, my lord. You stand accused of murder, a capital offense. You could be sent to the gallows if found guilty. Are you quite sure you wish to entrust your defense to this foreigner? Is this one of the places where they use the slur? Because I feel like he really wanted to use a slur there. On the most likely to say the N-word tier list, this guy'd be probably towards the top. Oh, Nipponese? Okay, so apparently Von Zeeks is also high on that list. I forgot, he said Nipponese, which, like, Nippon means... I mean, you're talking about Japan, but, like, should you say it that way? Probably not. He said Jap? Nipponese definitely seems much more respectful than Jap. Good lord. No, because ease isn't a thing in Japan. Nippon is Japan. But ease isn't a Japanese thing. So it'd be Nippon... Fuck. I don't remember. Yeah, I'll have to watch his video. I've never seen it. I guess that's what I saw it as. Respectful, if condescending. That's kind of how I was thinking about it. Now, obviously, somebody who's Japanese can come and tell me I'm full of shit, and that it's either one way or the other, and not that kind of middle ground. That would have been my guess. Nipponjin! Yes! Thank you, CJ. Man, that sucks. You're just trying to do something to have fun, and people are like, let's put slurs in! And you have to argue about that. As I've always said, my lord, 'tis a grand thing to give opportunities to the young. Even if the fella's a suitin' from some little island of... Again! It's a bigger island than Britain is! I think. Or at least similar in size. Not enough to be called little. Even if the fella's a suitin' from some little island off in the Far East. Is it not the British way to ignore the dangers of yourself and give those less fortunate a fair chance? I don't much like this guy's tone. Oh, I'm sorry. England. Even though we all knew I was talking about fucking England. Yeah, we could talk about the entirety of the UK. I'm pretty sure Japan's still bigger. I'd like to think that acts of chivalry will do the great British Empire proud. Listen, Mr. McGilded, what a fine gentleman London has. Did you hear that he donated £5,000 to the government? Mother, please, maybe go and play McGilded Park. Seems as though everyone in public gallery is firmly behind Mr. McGilded. That's definitely welcome news. He certainly has a way with words. That's actually very interesting. We've had clients that you would consider popular before, but it's never been expressed by the crowd like that, at least at the beginning. Yeah, and it was that kind of thinking that led to the Empire's downfall. Being a little too overly arrogant about what's yours. When I talk about the United States, do I think of all of the associated territories? No, because they're their own countries. Otherwise, we could add the surface area of Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, whatever, to the mass of the United States. I don't do that. They're still their own countries. No, I know. I'm not saying you disagree. I'm just kind of ranting. Was he addressed by the crowd in the beginning, though? Peanut Gallery, very benevolent today. Man pays his taxes. But if he's a Cambridge man, actually, I don't know. Come from Cambridge? I mean, maybe. I don't remember him them talking about him earlier. Like, very early on in the trial. But I could be wrong. That's just my memory. Billy Bob Johns. What? That's the name of my great-grandfather. Gotta stop shitting on the judge. That's definitely welcome news, and he certainly has a way with words. I'm surprised he couldn't convince anyone to defend him. Eloquently put, Mr. McGilded, and most laudable sentiments. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'm sure I need hardly remind you. Hey! I didn't have a part in selecting this jury! The fuck is this? Oh, our first Russian bot of the day. I'm surprised that they're getting through the sub-only thing, because they're actually subbing now, I guess. Canada is just northern Maine. God. Hi, Sindere. Is that how it's pronounced? Or is it Sindere? Welcome. I know I just got here, so the jury shouldn't be put together yet. If this is the true start of the trial, then there should not be a full jury yet. We should be voir diring, which is asking the jury questions in order to weed out people that will have a preconceived bias against your client. And with a client like mine, I feel like it'd be pretty easy to put together a really favorable jury. But here we have one guy who is literally throwing a knife. He is flipping a knife in the jury box. Got this old woman to the right who's knitting and not even paying attention. The dude on the left looks like he'd rather be anywhere else. And the woman in the middle. Like I said, the dude tossing the knife around looks like he just wants to see somebody die today. That's all he cares about. And the maid, the maid is just like unhappy with her life in general. It's just like fucking, who cares? This guy right here. Wait. This guy right here is the wild card. I can't read him. I can't read him. So I have no idea. Be interesting to see what he's like. Oh, I know a lot of people don't want to show up to do jury duty, but you would be surprised the amount of people that do take it very seriously if they're chosen. I feel so bad for my mom. She's gotten selected, 2 years? Once you've been selected, you can't be selected for another certain amount of years. I forget what it is. She gets picked that amount of years. She's got another one, and I'm like, wow, that's really unlucky. That you 6 members of the public have been selected for your impartiality. Are you ready to proceed? Oh, he's gonna take it seriously, just not in the right way. We do have a problem. I was not ready to do an additional 6 voices. Oh, yes, my lord. If the task is to send rottens to the gallows where they belong, I'm more than ready.
At the manor, his lordship always says we should dispose of rubbish promptly. Naturally, I agree.
Ha! Any criminal here will soon be wishing they never set eyes on me. He's a villain. He's gonna be the murderer of this case, actually. I feel a chill. The fuck? The fuck was that? There ain't nothing mysterious about her. She's grandma. Oh, don't mind me, my dears. I'll just be getting on with my knitting. Must finish these mitts for my grandson. Look, she's all happy face, red cheeks, got the happy eyes.
Ah, Mr. Naruhodo, those people are...
The jury, yes, that's something.
That's right, I've only ever read about it. But here in Great Britain, the court's final verdict depends on the opinions of these 6 jurors. I mean, crazy people. The judge passes sentence according to the law, but the jurors determine base guilt on common sense.
No! That they determine guilt based on law. They're given jury instructions that state the law. It's not just, what do you guys think? Based on everything you heard, just go ahead, tell me. But I'm sure there aren't going to be any jury instructions here.
So the defendant is ultimately judged from 2 completely different points of view. But how exactly did the jurors give their verdict? That I don't know, but I'm sure it will become clear as the trial progresses. Yes. This sounds really, really, really bad. But if and I know they didn't have time, so that it's a moot point in this particular case, but if there's any future cases, if I were a foreigner, like if I went to go defend somebody in, I don't know, India, I would make sure that my attire represents the fashion of that country, because even something like that could have an influence on a jury, because they might have a negative impression of, say, a kimono.
Prosecutor Van Zieks.
My lord?
It's been a number of years since we've seen you here in the courtroom. I thought you'd renounced your fame.
What does that have to do with renouncing his profession? I'm known as the Reaper of the Bailey, my lord. Infamy rather than fame, I would say. But yes, 5 years have passed since I last spread my wings in this capacity.
So, what brings you back? Is there some change of circumstances of which the court should be aware?
The circumstances that the defendant is going along with trial?
Wasn't that the whole thing? Was that he was just, like, feared?
I leave that to your imagination, my lord.
The Reaper has been out of action for 5 years. That sounds like it was voluntary. Why do you have to choose today of all days to make a comeback?
Don't lose heart, Mr. Naruhodo.
Let's shit on him and show him he should go back to retirement. As you wish, sir. The court nevertheless welcomes your return. Now then, opening statements, I think. Summary of the case, if you please.
Certainly, my lord. As your lordship is aware, this is a case of overwhelming simplicity.
We must be the only ones in here who aren't aware. Probably.
The incident took place in the late evening. 3 days passed. The hour was some minutes after 10. The victim was a maker of building bricks known in the community as Thrice Fired Mason.
Sorry? Thrice? He was a very accomplished craftsman. The bricks he fired were said to be almost indestructible. He also wore the same type of useless glasses that I do.
The victim's corpse was discovered in an omnibus in service on the streets of London at the time. A dagger that had been thrust into the victim's abdomen is believed to be the ultimate cause of death. But they just eyeballed it, so I'm not entirely sure. Here's the autopsy report from the investigating medical officer at Scotland Yard.
Thank you, counsel. I shall accept that the photograph as evidence. He was hibernating in a coffin.
And one further item of evidence. The prosecution wishes to submit these as well.
And these are? Good Lord! Is that blood, counsel? Relax, Judge! It's like you've never seen blood before. Jesus Christ.
No, I know. They have actual autopsy reports, not post-mortem reports. Yes, my lord. Seized by a policeman who arrived in the scene. At the scene. These gore-soaked gloves were taken from the hands of the accused when he was arrested. What? Mr. McGilded's gloves had blood on them? Bruh, you really need to learn to control your emotions. I know you're new. I guess not even Phoenix does that very well, though. They're like, this bad thing, and Phoenix is like... It's like, dude, just sit there like... Maybe your eyes flare, or your nose flares ever so slightly. Yes, I'll accept these as evidence as well. Motion to suppress! God, now that mistrial thing's... Interesting. Oh, excuse me. I think I'm gonna delete that part from the VOD. I really don't like bringing up cases that some people are actually, oh, what are they doing? Like, I don't really, this isn't the channel to bring up stuff like that. I just thought it would be a helpful illustration. Probably gonna get rid of that part of the VOD. How did I get into this? I backed into a corner before I've even started. Continuing. According to the driver of the omnibus, there were only 2 passengers traveling inside his vehicle at the time. Only 2? Obviously, one of those passengers was the deceased brickmaker, Mr. Mason. The other was the accused, Magnus McGilded. Did the other 3 jurors not give a shit or something? Ooh, well, rather damning circumstances to say the least. But I guess those, based on what they said, those 3 are the biggest problem. They're just out for blood. The other 3 are like, I'm just knitting. And the other's like, I'm drunk. And the other was typing. Defendant, what say you? Well, of course, I have no recollection of such a thing. Mr. McGilded! To be sure, I rode the omnibus that evening. But whenever I'm in a carriage, I'm taken with a fierce tiredness, and I always succumb to it. Are you claiming to have been asleep? 'Tis the motion of the carriage, my lord. Lilton, so it is. And when I opened my eyes again, it was a desperate sight before me, the body of a man I'd never laid eyes on before in my life. Now I ask yous, what good-hearted soul would it rush to help a fella bleeding from his stomach? I wasn't about to start worrying about my gloves now, was I? I reached out to give the man a hand. The blood got on the gloves then, after the man had been killed. Unfortunately, that statement of the driver's is only the beginning. What? That's not all of it? There were multiple witnesses to the precise moment at which the brickmaker was fatally stabbed. Order! 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 When the killing took place, only the victim and the accused were inside the carriage. There were witnesses to the crime. Was the window open so that people could see? Normally, aren't there, like, drapes that can be closed for privacy? Sorry, privacy. For privacy? Otherwise, how would they have seen it? This is not just a case of compelling evidence. It's the nail in the coffin for the accused.
Bravo! Oh, he did say spreading his wings earlier before, didn't he? Oh, I love it. Thank you, counsel. The circumstances of the crime have been made quite clear. I think we will hear testimony from these witnesses first of all.
Your wish is my command. Bailiff, bring the witnesses in at once. Witnesses, your names and occupations.
Everyone calls me Beppo. Good lord! Why is he so cold? I drive an omnibus in the East End. I perpetually am frozen solid. Bruce Fairplay. I'm a banker in the city.
My name's First, Lady First. I make hats for gents. Look how wonderful my hat is. It's my newest model. Doesn't stay on the head very well, and yes, it is indeed two different hats, but it looks wonderful.
Yeah, lady first. Let's begin by confirming the facts. 3 days ago, at a short time after 10 o'clock in the evening, all of you present in the stand were in an omnibus and witnessed to the aforementioned incident. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Quite right.
Yes, sir, that's right, sir.
Very well then, let's proceed to your formal testimonies, please. Each of you will tell the court precisely what you saw. It was the last bus of the evening, so I had a few customers I remembered well.
The victim and the man accused of killing him were sat next to each other inside the bus. Then, out of the blue, the accused just reached over and plunged a knife right into his guts.
That's right, he stabbed him. I screamed I did. Couldn't help it.
As soon as I heard the scream, I stopped my bus, and then I saw it too.
So you didn't see the precise moment.
Unambiguous testimony, I must say.
That's for the fucking jury to decide.
Okay. So I've railed on the other judge before for like being way too like openly biased about his views during the fucking trial. But at least in his case, he was the one making the decision. He's not making the goddamn decision here. He shouldn't be saying shit like this. God! I had hope for him too. No, piece of shit.
Exactly, my lord. These men witnessed the incident in the omnibus with their own eyes.
I'd like to ask a question, if I may. Yes, counsel?
Well, this testimony makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. Why not?
Well, the incident took place inside a moving carriage, didn't it?
As has been clearly stated from the outset, yes.
Well, in that case, how could those two witnesses possibly have seen what happened? There's no way they could have seen the inside of the moving carriage.
How quaint. I'd read that civilization in the Far Eastern nations was a good century behind our own. But you're here in London yourself. Are you really so ignorant about our omnibuses?
Apparently I am. But that's because they're centuries behind us.
Huh? Tell me, my Nipponese friend, you ever traveled in an omnibus?
Well, no. We only arrived in London this morning.
No matter. I've arranged for us all to see for ourselves the actual scene of the crime, that is.
What do you mean, the actual scene? How?
The carriage is designed to be moved after all. Presumably you understand that much.
Yes?
The omnibus in which this bloody crime took place is here today, in this very building.
Here? What? The entire carriage?
Bailiff, bring forth the stricken omnibus.
It did have a good run.
So that's an omnibus, the omnibus.
Can't believe they could bring something so enormous in here. Great Britain's courtrooms are amazing.
As you can see, the omnibus is pulled by 2 horses and can carry up to 8 passengers. 4 passengers seated inside the enclosed cabin, and another 4 on the rooftop deck alone.
Above, God, like trying to work his, I'm tinkering with his accent, and it's really fucking up my ability to speak.
Every Londoner knows this. That the best views of the city's architecture and sights are to be had from the top of an omnibus. And I should point out to our foreign guests that there is a skylight in the roof, allowing a view of the interior from the seats above.
Ah, skylight. Oh!
The penny drops at last, I see. These 2 gentlemen were occupying the rooftop seats on this omnibus when the murder took place. That is how they came to witness the grim incident. Though through the skylight... that makes perfect sense.
Well, counsel, this is the first. All my years behind the bench, I've never experienced the crime scene itself being brought into the courtroom.
There are a number of important clues remaining inside the carriage, my lord. I would like to submit the omnibus itself as evidence. That is the prosecution's wish.
Very well, I see no reason why not. This omnibus is hereby formally accepted as evidence. This big-ass bus.
I can't believe it. The entire crime scene entered as evidence? Yes, Great Britain is simply extraordinary.
I helped myself a lot by giving that omnibus a thorough examination, seeing as it's here.
Let's continue with proceedings then. Your cross-examination, counsel?
Pray don't expect this Nipponese stray to understand the intricacies of a British court's cross-examination rights.
All right. My first cross-examination in a British court.
Focus, Rinosuke. Focus.
Hold it!
Yes? I think it was sometime after 10, wasn't it?
Oh yes, sir, that's quite right, sir.
Yes, ever so cold it was, sir. Freezing cold.
And you had 4 passengers on board at the time, is that correct?
Yes, that's right, sir. Not all traveling in the same parts of the bus, sir. No. There were no other passengers when the incident took place? No one alighted, for example? You're quite right with that, sir. No other passengers like that, none. That guy is stone-faced.
I hurt his neck like that, though. So nobody fled the scene of the crime, then. I have to say, the boss insists on it running. He does every evening. That's the last bus of the night. But I do wonder sometimes if it's altogether worthwhile. Yes, sorry to say. What do you mean by that? Well, what with it being so cold and everything, and only making 20 pence on the run, you see, I spent that much at the pub on the way home, just trying to stay warm again.
That's sad.
Hold it!
And you saw them through the skylight in the roof of the carriage? That's right. When you sit up on the top deck, the window's right there at your feet. There was a lamp on inside, so I had a pretty good view. The two of them were wearing hats, and I couldn't exactly make out their faces. But there's not a shred of doubt in my mind that it was Mr. McGilden.
How can you be so sure?
Well, how can I put it politely? Mr. McGilden is a gentleman of rather small stature. I couldn't have mistaken him for anyone else.
That was not the voice I gave him earlier. Let's not forget that when the vehicle came to a halt, the only people inside the enclosed cabin were the deceased Mr. Mason and Mr. McGilden. There's no room for doubt here. Really wish there was.
Then out of the blue, the accused just reached over and plunged a knife right into his guts.
You actually saw the exact moment it happened?
Didn't I already testify to that? Or are fair dinkum hard-working city bankers not considered trustworthy these days?
Oh, no, I didn't mean that. This is no good. I really got his back up. Wait. Perhaps you could just tell us... My lord!
Juror number 3? What's the meaning of this?
My mind is made up, my lord, completely and utterly made up!
Made up about what?
I don't like the stinking rich. Never have. They're always up to something or other that they shouldn't be, every one of them! And that little leprechaun of a man is no exception! Well, he can't fool me. That was painful. He pounded on the desk, which caused a flame to lift up out of that thing, fly perfectly backward. Okay. Just, we were able to speak to spirits before. They were able to take over the bodies of our friends and speak to us directly. I guess that is not really super out of the ordinary in this world. There's no point wasting time listening to any more of this. That's my opinion on the matter anyway.
That's precisely what I was about to say. As a foreman of the jury, it's my duty to set a good example to my fellow jurors.
What the? There shouldn't be anything in your book about that. Let me see. Ah, yes, it seems that's how the members of the jury give their verdicts. With fire? Apparently, yes. White for innocent and black for guilty. As the 6 members of the jury make up their minds about the case, one by one, they each cast a ball of fire into the great scales of justice, as we saw a moment ago. Those enormous scales fall completely to the black side. Does that mean... Let's do our very best to make sure that doesn't happen. Even more worried than I was before. Very well, the court acknowledges the change in the jury's stance. Counsel for the defense, please continue with your cross-examination. This is a nightmare. This is a nightmare. You know, juries normally deliberate, right? Deliberate? You know what fucking deliberate means? Is it like a problem if I press too much? Cause now I'm like, now I kinda don't wanna press, cause that shit could happen. Alright, look inside. Oop. So this is the roof deck of the omnibus. Oh, you must have a wonderful view of London streets from up here. So people sit all the way up here on bitter winter nights with the cold air rushing past them? They have to pay money to do so? I can't imagine how cold it must feel. That just made me think of something horrible. Can you imagine being dragged around the city in the freezing cold as punishment? Perhaps that is the real price you pay to stay out late. Aha! Aha! No, and they definitely can't be like they might think it in their minds, but they can't be like, Judge, I already cast my vote, guilty, and then sit back down and be like, I don't have to do any more work. No, you can't do that. I mean, you could do it, technically, but the judge would tell you to shut the fuck up. Or he might not even acknowledge your request, and the bailiff would tell you to shut the fuck up. You can certainly see inside the carriage's opening, that's for sure. Yes, there's a lamp in the enclosed cabin. I'm sure the witness would have been able to see quite clearly. That's not good for us. Now let's open the door and go inside, shall we? Ugh. Sense of murder. It's horrible. Yeah, like no shit, that's what people would do. You would see people who would do that just to try to like do as less work as possible. They don't, Tom. I know. We live in a great jurisdiction. Speedy trial indeed. Okay. Blood. Which means they had to have been sitting here in order to see it, because sitting here means there's no way they would have been able to see the moments of the comments on how soft this looks. This seat looks reasonable. This seat looks reasonably soft, but it's actually rather hard when you sit on it. We're just wide enough for two gentlemen to sit side by side, really. Or gentlewomen. Of course, an English woman, gentlewoman, would be dressed in finery. It would be quite possible for her to climb to the roof deck. She would have to be seated in here. A woman in a carriage in general? Why is she not staying home in the kitchen? God, I can't.
way they like, again, that's like respectful, if condescending tone towards the women throughout this entire game. Except for Ouchie, who's just outright like, a woman! But then also simps for them. Like, can I please put my nose in your asshole? And then you're gonna be like, but a woman? Bruh, if you're willing to put your nose in her asshole, then you better give her the proper respect she deserved. Damn. See, but I don't expect the jury to conduct themselves the way the judge does. The jury is an average citizen. Like, it's unreasonable for them to like have the knowledge of a judge and know the way the judge is supposed to, you know, conduct proceedings. If anything, it just makes me more upset when the judge does something stupid. Ouchie's burned. Not adopted until the U.S.'s Second Awakening. Fair! A woman in a kimono would have the same problem. Women's clothes are very impractical, aren't they? Was that really... What did that add? What did that add? Ah, that's a poster for the great exhibition that's due to start 6 months from now. A lot of focus being drawn to the Crystal Tower, the centerpiece of the whole expansion. Oh, the Crystal Tower, it's under construction already, I believe. People all over London must be fizzling. No, just fizzing, okay. People all over London must be fizzing with excitement at the prospect of such a grand event. That's blood that's soaked into the seat. The victims, obviously. Why isn't there any blood on the back? If he was stabbed in the stomach, well, I guess it's not, he wouldn't necessarily have been bleeding from the back. That knife looked pretty long, I guess. It is assumed it went through, but that's not necessarily the case. That's blood that's soaked into the seat. The victims, obviously. Yes, and that seat would be clearly visible from the roof deck. Really stab somebody in full view of the other passengers like that, I wonder? Well, it was after dark. There's a lamp on in here, so perhaps the culprit couldn't see anything outside through the skylight. The way you look at it, it doesn't seem like it was a planned attack. Quite a large skylight, isn't it? Yes, quite large enough to afford a good view into the cabin from the roof deck. Now, there doesn't appear to be a handle or catch of any description, so I suppose it can't be opened from inside the cabin at least. I can get out in and out of any of the windows. Look at the ground? No. Oh. Okay, nothing down there. You seen enough? Let's step back outside. Thank you. You guys are filling in for class rep quite nicely. Substitute reps. Okay, so they won't let me turn it entirely. What? Why? That's where the guy sits. Did they say anything about the... anything different about the... No. They don't. They say the same thing for both seats. Alright. Trep says that like there's been many things that were called Phoenix Wright throughout history because I mean it makes sense. Okay. Alright, yeah. I guess let's look at all of our evidence while we have the chance. This is definitely blood, isn't it? Most pleasant sight to be confronted with on our first day in London. Nothing will come of grumbling now. Stop being a bitch. No, but by the way, is Mr. Gilded right-handed? Yes, I believe so. He was toying with a coin in his right hand a little earlier. Ah, pity. Only he had been left-handed. His blood on either glove would be fairly incriminating, really. Doesn't look like there's... Yeah, I mean, it might have not stabbed through him. That man looks like a deep. Where's the murder weapon? Yes. Stabbed once in the abdomen with a knife whilst journeying in an omnibus. Whilst. I think I say whilst much more than the average American does. No, it should have no defense. It fucking blows. Wait, what did I say that's what she said? I didn't even... I didn't even notice what I said. That's a good question. Kind of everywhere. Whilst. Glove. He said it was his gloves, though. But yeah, maybe he shouldn't have said that.
Hold it!
He stabbed him, you say? And you were sitting up on the roof deck, were you? That's right, so I was up on the roof seats. I can't tell if this guy is any fucking tell because he's moving so goddamn much. Remember seeing the little jet sitting next to the fellow that was stabbed? I've been thinking about a new hat design, you see? So I was just gazing absentmindedly around. But then I happened to look down through the skylight. Through the skylight. It was sticking right out from his belly. That huge great knife. A grim sight indeed. Ah, that didn't help me at all. It looks like they're even more convinced that my client did it than they were before. That appears to have made everyone even more dubious that Mr. Gilded is telling the truth. If only we had some evidence to counter their suspicions. Mr. First. Mr. First. Oh, yes, sir? Is this the knife you saw? Oh, good grief, yeah, that's it. That's the very one, sir. Is that? Yes, Counsel. This is the blade that was driven into the victim's belly like a stake through the heart.
Sorry, just gotta chill there for a second. As a blade of considerable size, Counsel. It is, and furthermore, the scabbard is emblazoned prominently with a certain initial. The letter M, which seems oddly familiar. Please no. M. Or Magnus, perhaps? Or McGilded, possibly. Take your pick. It seems this particular big name in London made a magnificent mistake.
Objection!
But there are M's everywhere. Like, yes, like in Mason.
Objection!
This blade is far too extravagant for a poor brickmaker to have owned. No, this weapon of murder almost certainly belongs to the accused. Not conclusive, but certainly. Shut up! Not conclusive, but certainly compelling, Counsel. My lord, if you'll forgive the interruption. Juror number 2, go on. Mr. McGilded is a pillar of society and a gentleman's word should be sacrosanct. However, those of us in service know we must accept hard truths. Wait, what are you? Dispose of the rubbish. No! I don't wish to cause offense, but I do like to eradicate all traces of filth and grime. I have painstakingly typed every word uttered here today and cross-referenced all the facts. As such, I am now in a position to draw the only logical conclusion. Not again. That's 4 out of 6 jury members who've proposed a guilty verdict. Only 2 left. We've had it. Every time I press the witnesses for more information, I just make the situation worse. So wait, how does this situation work? Because, like, it's obviously... can you change your verdict? Can you make the flame dance if you want? Because if the whole thing is, you gotta... If you need a unanimous verdict, or the jury's hung, all you need is one person to agree with you. But then, in this situation, you can't possibly win either, as soon as you lose one person. I know, obviously the game is going to tell me, that is obvious. But I'm musing based off of how a jury system would really work. And why this is weird. Yeah, they can ask for anything. Well, that they could physically get. You could take a jury to a crime scene if you wanted to. That's happened before. I would agree with that. Like, of course. The game's not gonna be like, oh, we don't know what to do with this. Nevertheless, what we need more than anything at the moment is more information. We're still very much in the dark. I suppose I'll just have to keep pressing the witnesses, knowing that sparks may well fly. We mustn't give up hope that we'll uncover something that will give us a way to fight back. But... alright, I'll keep trying. I can't give up. I just need to keep calm and listen to the witnesses' statements again. And look at the knife. That part is the sheath, isn't it? You alright, Mr. Naruhodo? Hmm? Oh, sorry, yes, I don't really like something. Knives. Doesn't seem like the words of a man with a large katana slung from his waist. That's not a blade. That's Kazuma's soul.
Next time I go on a trip, I'm gonna bring a giant sword with me, and when they're like, "You can't bring that weapon here, sir," I'll be like, "This is not a weapon. It is my father's soul." And we'll see if that shit holds up. Let's see what the blade looks like. That's a lot of blood. That looks like a lot of blood. It surely is blood. The victims. Englishman's blood looks a lot like a Japanese man's blood. Did you think it wouldn't? Sorry, it's just that we've only just arrived here in Great Britain. I'm finding it weird to believe that they actually walk on two legs. I'm finding it a little hard to adjust. Yes, I do understand. Kind of. I mean, being a little ridiculous. An ornate letter M, undeniably Mr. Magnus McGilden's initial. She said it. Fucking who cares? It's beautifully gilded too. Must be very valuable, I should think. Ah! What is it? Look at this M. You turn it upside down, it becomes a W. This could change everything. A W? Yes, this is one of those, turnabout cases, I'm sure of it. I'm afraid I don't know it all, but what I'm sure of is that this is an M. Oh, well, that idea was quickly quashed. I like that because that's something that a person could like reasonably think. Oh, it's a W, although that does not look like a W. But the game's like, nope, don't even think about that. It's not. It's not. You might think that it is, but it is not. Yeah, Phoenix Wright, his services. Fuck that. Okay. Alright, so when it oh no, I was supposed to cross it over. So when it happened, the only two people in the enclosed cabin area were the victim and the defendant. And so help me, 3 whole people witnessed the man I'm trying to defend to do the deed. I'd like to be pessimistic, but we do seem to be in a rather difficult situation here. Ugh, what am I supposed to think here? Mr. McGilden really innocent? What could it be? Before we jump to conclusions, our first task should be to gather information. We need to understand the case much better than we do at the moment. Yes, you're absolutely right. Listen to the witness' statements again, a little more carefully this time.
Hold it!
You actually saw the exact moment it happened? Didn't I already test? God, I can't consistently do the voice. Didn't I already testify to that? Or our fair, yeah, that, well, I didn't mean that. But it really got its back up. Perhaps you could just tell us what you saw in a little more detail, if you don't mind. Why don't you ask the young man next to me? I'm not asking him, I'm asking you. Me? Oh, well, yes. Couldn't help it.
Hold it!
What exactly did you see? Oh, sir, that would be a passenger, sir. Esther collapsed on the floor, he was. And by the passenger, obviously you are referring to the victim, Mr. Mason, the brickmaker. And then the other passenger had that knife in his hand, like this. By the other passenger, obviously you are referring to the accused, Mr. Magnus McGilden. And then plunged it down like this, stabbing the other person in the belly. What? My lord, I wish to speak. Yes, sir, number 5. Yes, sir, number 5. Do I take it that you two... God, why can't... I can't keep all my voices together. There's so many of them. Yes, sir, number 5. Do I take it that you two
As a matter of the London Guild of Coachmen, as the master of the London Guild of Coachmen, the idea of a murder being committed in one of the city's carriages is utterly abhorrent to me. It wouldn't be right to make a decision before hearing all the facts, though, I said to myself. But I've heard enough. The horse has bolted, as they say. No, please, just giddy up. Now, Silver Blaze. The finish is in sight. Beppo is a long-standing member of the guild, and I trust what the man says.
Oh, thank you, sir. You're too kind, sir. See, that he shouldn't be allowed to serve on the jury. He'd be struck, like, immediately. Do any of you have any association with the Coachman's Guild? I'm the master. He's out. He's out. Fuck him. Fuck him. Nope. Gone. Gone. Do any of you know any of the witnesses? Yep. He works under me. Gone. Fucking gone. This is too unkind, sir. Which now means that 5 jurors agree to condemn this man. Oh, I haven't been paying attention. Madam Juror number 6. Yes, dear? What could I do for you? You have heard the testimonies of the witnesses in the stand. Oh, yes, I certainly have. Still got my hearing, you know. Then, pray tell, why are you yet to pronounce your leaning? Also bullshit. Targeting a juror specifically and pressuring them into why they haven't made revealing why they haven't made a decision yet. Horrendous. 'Cause fuck you, that's why. Well, the thing is, I'm a creature of habit, me. I always go to the park at around this time of day and sit on a nice bench and get on with my knitting. There's a lovely little park just near where I live. The Gilded Park, it's called. The gentleman donated to the city, you know, to put a smile on Londoners' faces, he said. I can't imagine such a fine young gentleman would have it in him to take another man's life. He's always doing wonderful things for the city. That's right, a man like that wouldn't stab at someone, surely. Well, maybe go to the Gilded Park library later and borrow some more books. He's gone. He's gone. He's gone. He's gone. He's gone. How many Londoners live with their heads in the clouds? Do you people not know what kind of a man Magnus McGilded really is? Entirely inappropriate to be admonishing the gallery and someone who isn't agreeing with you. What kind of a man is he? The philanthropist Magnus McGilded has enough wealth to purchase the entire city he claims to value so highly. But where did all that wealth come from? Your client is a Shylock, sir, and one with the very darkest of souls. What? Starting to crows. McGilded lends money to McGilded lends money at extortionate rates of interest, so his victims have no hope of repaying him. When they default, he takes possession of everything they own. He is a vulture that preys on the weak. Wouldn't he have a reputation for that then? It's not like you can just do that and no one will know. I've never heard mention of that before. Your faculties haven't deserted you, I'm sure, madam. So has this thought not crossed your mind? Would a man wealthy enough to buy London in its entirety not have a carriage of his own?
Or kill somebody? Have somebody killed by a person that he'd hire instead of himself?
What possible reason could this man have had to make use of a public omnibus service?
You're not saying that... Dude, clap back immediately because he loves the city so much he enjoys hanging out with all the citizens. What are you gonna say to that? No, he hates them. Really? Based on what?
The victim, a poor brickmaker, had next to nothing to his name save considerable financial liability.
Which is an asset.
It will come as no surprise that his creditor was the accused Magnus McGilden. But let it also be known that the very day Mr. Mason was killed was the final repayment date for his debts.
Good gracious!
The brickmaker was destitute, he had lost his house, he had not a shilling with which to repay his debts. And in the end, this pitiful soul had the very last thing he owned taken from him, his life. By the merciless philanthropist pretender, Magnus McGilden.
I don't believe it.
I may add something briefly, Miss Susato. You claim that the victim had been lent money by Mr. McGilden. But where's the evidence to support your claim?
Pray the discourteous, forgive the discourtesy, but I'm gonna do it anyways. And it's alcohol. And I'm drinking alcohol. This is only a matter of time before we ran into a prosecutor that's like, fuck it, wine, let's go.
Pray forgive the discourtesy of filling my hallowed chalice in a court of law.
Aha, there it is. Lord Van Ziek's hallowed chalice. Why are you so excited, Judge?
How can this be considered acceptable?
Because that judge is a piece of shit.
But I find myself in unexpectedly good humor. I had heard ladies from the Far East could show great courage, but I didn't expect to experience it myself. As a judicial assistant to the defense, I'm simply doing my job. What a pity that your display of courage is in vain. This is the debtor's ledger, which details all monies loaned by the accused.
Just give that to us in the first place, you fucking melodramatic asshole.
You will find the victim's name clearly recorded inside.
See, this is the shit that people are like, what's the biggest difference between, like, stuff that happens in court and stuff that happens in real life? This bullshit presentation. Even in, like, the most theatrical of trials. Somebody doesn't, like, go on and on and on and make all this stuff and just wait for somebody to go, well, where's your evidence? I was waiting for you to ask me that. It is right here. If I'm a judge, I'm like, why didn't you submit that as you were talking about it? If I'm the defense here, I'll just let him talk about that shit. And then when it's my turn to talk, I'm like, he says this, but he's given no evidence. And what, is he then gonna be like, ha ha, I've been waiting for you to say that for hours. It's right here. Well, why didn't you present that earlier? That type of shit does not happen. First of all, because it's fucking stupid. This makes him look like an idiot. There's nothing strong about this presentation. If you would have fucking dropped it all right away, then yeah, you know, that would have seemed like an insurmountable amount of evidence that we could deal with. But now it looks like you don't even have everything, or don't want to show certain things until it comes up.
Yes, a reasonable argument. I guess it's time for me to take a sip of my wine and be an ass about things I didn't present.
It's not just the British court system, though. The other Phoenix Wright games did the same thing.
It's always fucking stupid.
Oh.
Allow me to present this ledger as evidence. I've settled on him making him Edgeworth, but less nasally, as long as I can avoid my nose when I'm talking. And pray forgive the discourtesy of raising my chalice in a toast to the enigmatic East at the same time. Wow. Ah, yes, a toast from us all. A marvelous toast. I was kidding. I was fucking kidding. A marvelous toast, Counsel. I will gladly accept this new evidence. A toast to this new evidence. Ah, yes, 20 guineas. The victims owed a considerable sum. And the accused made quite certain he had ample recompense. Well, it would seem I had the wool pulled over my eyes. Regrettably, madam, that is the modus operandi of the accused. It's such a pretty little park, too. What a scoundrel. Still, maybe it's all for the best. Wait a minute. I don't stand for nonsense. That was it. That was the last juror's thing. According to this Encyclopedia of British Law that you should have been studying, what did you even retain in those 50 days, you asshole? When all members of the jury have concluded that the defendant is guilty, court proceedings are suspended, and the presiding judge will deliver the final verdict and sentence. That's what it says here. Ah, the final verdict. It's over then. Oh. There's a footnote, though. A footnote? However, the defense... All 6 members of the jury are now in agreement in this case. Allow me to convey my respect for your swift and righteous decision. According to the laws of this country, I will now conclude the trial by delivering my final verdict. I trust there are no objections. Miss Susato, just tell me one thing. Oh, yes? You were in the middle of saying something before. Keep talking, god damn it! The footnote in your Encyclopedia of British Law. However, the defense... What did it say next? He's literally raising his gavel. I have to... What? When all members of the jury have concluded that the defendant is guilty, the proceedings are suspended, and the presiding judge will deliver the final verdict and sentence. And the footnote says, however, the defense has the right to demand a summation examination of the jurors at this point. Summation examination? A summation examination? From which century has that tome you have... Okay, that's really funny. From which century has that tome you have there been resurrected? That's really funny. Judging from the binding, I would say that book is at least 50 years old. Any modern text on British law wouldn't even give such an antiquated procedure a mention. It's a relic, long forgotten and certainly no longer practiced. So you're out of luck. Oh. What even is it, Miss Susato? The so-called summation examination. Oh, one moment and I'll read about it. You would demand the right to a procedure before you even understand what it entails? Typical Nipponese.
God, what a fucking dick.
Alright, Mr. Naruhodo, I think I understand. It seems that under this procedure, we will be able to appeal to the members of the jury.
To do what exactly?
Appeal to them to change their leaning and reverse their decisions. And it says here that, if successful, the proceedings of the trial must be resumed.
Make them reverse their decisions?
Yes, in times gone by, barristers would use a summation examination to attempt to influence jury's decisions. That procedure became something of a formality with no practical benefit, really, so it rather fell out of use.
But is it still a part of your laws of procedure? Because if it is, you better give me a good reason why we shouldn't use it. When I want to.
I wonder why.
Because it was devoid of purpose.
Changing just one member of the jury's mind would be hard enough, let alone several. No self-respecting defense barrister would ever assert his right to try in this day and age.
Because all self-respecting barristers simply give up once they've been defeated by all 6 members. That makes sense. Certainly have a lot of respect for your job when you do that.
Still, I don't see any mention of the procedure actually being formally revoked.
What are you suggesting?
Bitch, did I stutter? I'm suggesting that although it may be antiquated and largely forgotten, it isn't yet extinct.
Oh my god! It hasn't been formally revoked! How did I not know that?
What do you think, Naruhodo?
If you try one and fail, probably hurts your reputation. But that's exactly my point. That's fucking stupid. If you try and fail, then you were simply doing whatever you could legally and with the tools at your disposal to win for your client. Thinking anything other than you did a good job is fucking stupid. Again, we're talking about legal, not forging evidence within the means of legality. If you see them doing something that is legal, and it is an attempt to save their client, and the only other option is to simply let them be guilty, if you think that hurts somebody's reputation, if you were somebody back then who's like, huh, what an asshole, then you are a fucking idiot. You're probably right. You're probably right in that it probably did hurt people's reputation, and the reason is because they are fucking stupid. Hello, Zara. Forget it. Just lose. Oh, I agree. That what he said is probably true. Is that it failed so often that it just people would stop using it. But that shouldn't affect whether or not whether you have a more negative opinion of somebody for using something at their disposal. If anything, it should be considered like, if you don't use it, you're a fucking idiot. Because it's free. It's free. It's fucking free. It's literally free. Just do it. And if you did manage to make it happen, then holy fucking shit. You're the toast of the town tonight. Just an absolutely idiotic mindset. The defense wishes to assert its right to a summation examination, my lord.
Objection!
London is the capital city of the most powerful nation on Earth. Trucks. Lucy disagrees. We have a duty to the world to exemplify the very highest standards of judicial procedure. Summation examinations are an embarrassment that should remain buried.
Objection!
But it's alright. But if it's alright, it's alright. I believe it could prove vital in this trial. And not asserting a right that's available to us would be fucking stupid and negligent of us in our duties. The defense's petition is perfectly valid. The court will proceed with the summation examination. This is madness. Why? 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 His logic is not existent. Because we're England, and I find it embarrassing. Okay? So? You literally have no substance behind your fucking argument. Foreman, are you and the remainder of the jury ready? Well, I'm not, there was no mention of this in the letter I received, you see, so... All members of the jury will be asked to explain on what grounds they have reached their decision. On what grounds? Must all justify your decisions and explain why you believe the defendant should be guilty. Well, my lord, you're rather putting us on the spot. Yeah, that's exactly the fucking point, asshole. This is most irregular. No mention was made of this before. Ignorance is no excuse. I don't really hold with all this justifying lock. That seems to have thrown the jurors off. It seems none of them have experienced this before. Alright then, the summation examination. Defense procedure no practicing lawyer has attempted for years, is it? Well, just maybe. It might be the opportunity we've been looking for to turn this trial around. Knife! So be it then. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the court hereby calls upon you to state the grounds on which you find the defendant, Magnus McGilded, guilty of this most serious crime. Wait, we have to deliberate? Yeah, that's when juries have to justify their verdict when they go into deliberations. If you have to reach a unanimous verdict, you better try to justify yourself. I'm so glad you said flim flam after pish posh, because I saw pish posh and I was like, oh my god, flim flam. It was there, and I'm like, yes, pish posh, flim flam. I wish I could do a better Mr. Burns. Give somebody a Mr. Burns voice. Yeah, no big deal. It's just murder. You know, whatever. Alright. Sorry. I am going to cut it here. This seems like a good time to stop. Save time for tomorrow. I am going to fall asleep in my chair. And I can't keep... I keep trying to, like, provide the energy in order to give myself energy, and it is not working. So I don't want to end up sleepwalking through this part, because this actually seems really interesting. So yeah, I'll be back
we'll do a longer stream on Friday. How about that? We'll go an hour longer to make up for the shortness. Oh yeah, I shall remember that. All right, thanks to Zod for the $2 earlier. Yeah, we'll be back Friday. Like I said, wee bit longer of a stream to make up for the shortened stream today. I will be back tomorrow with Earthbound, which has been super fun. If you haven't checked out that little short of what the stream has been looking like, do so, because I get kind of crazy with that game. All right, everyone, take it easy. Have a great rest of your days. And I'll see you next time. Stream is adjourned.
Phone. I need
Hello.
I don't know what